Hi guys, and welcome back to Playtech TV. Now today we're going to be looking at the GTX 1050 Ti and the GTX 1050 and kind of comparing them a little bit and helping you make an informed decision on which one would be better for your budget or your requirements. Now if you're over here in New Zealand like us, then the difference between the GTX 1050 and the 1050 Ti is about 50 bucks. In the States, it's about $30. So there's not a huge difference in price between the two cards. So what's really the difference between the 1050 and the 1050 Ti? Well, the 1050 Ti has one extra stream processor. So that means you've got 128 extra CUDA cores and about 8 extra texture units. Now, if you're smart, you'll realize that the GTX 1050 actually does have a higher core clock speed than the 1050 Ti. So you might think, well, hold on a second, doesn't that mean it's going to be pretty quick as well, maybe even faster? The reason for this is because the 1050 lacks that extra stream processor, it means that it uses a little bit less power so that they can actually crank that frequency up a little bit to get a little bit more juice out of it. Doesn't mean that the 1050 is going to be anywhere near as fast as the 1050 Ti, but it does help cover the little gap between them. The 1050 Ti also has double the amount of video memory available with 4 GB as opposed to 2 GB in the GTX 1050. So what does it game like though? What's the actual gaming performance? Well, we loaded up a couple of our favorite games just to play through and see what kind of performance we'd get between the two cards. We found that in Grand Theft Auto, we got about a 10% improvement in frame rates when playing on high settings. It took our frames from 75.3 up to 83.1 FPS. Now, Grand Theft Auto is a pretty demanding game, and we were really surprised at the performance of both cards in this game. We were really impressed. Our next test was loading the popular shooter game Doom, which of course has amazing graphics and is super fast paced, so we really wanted to see how this game would handle on the GTX 1050 and 1050 Ti. We were really surprised at how both cards did in this test as well. They both maintained over 60 FPS at high settings. The 1050 got 64.2 FPS average, and the 1050 Ti sat at 73 FPS average. So that was about a 13% increase in performance, which is still pretty good. And our last test was Overwatch. We really wanted to try like an online multiplayer shooter that wasn't necessarily like the greatest for graphics out there, but still had a lot going on anyway. Now we played Overwatch in DX11 mode on ultra settings, and we got 95 FPS on the GTX 1050 and 108 FPS on the 1050 Ti. So once again, that was a 13% increase. So we were really happy with that result. So as you can see, both cards perform extremely well in all situations, but there was usually at least a 10% increase in performance between the two. So my recommendation is if you've got the extra 30 US dollars or 50 New Zealand dollars, definitely go for the 1050 Ti. There is nothing else that you could do to your system for $50 that would give you a 10% increase in gaming performance. Not a SSD or more RAM or anything like that is going to affect your pure gaming performance as much as that small upgrade from the 1050 to the 1050 Ti will do. Hopefully that's made your decision a little bit easier. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching Playtech TV.